It was late autumn when Daniel drove into the forest and didn't come back. He had debts, large ones, to people who don't ask twice. And he had run out of answers. He didn't plan to get lost. He just needed somewhere no one could find him. The forest took care of the rest. 3 hours of walking, no path, no signal, no familiar landmark. Every tree looked exactly like the one before it. His phone had been dead since morning. The cold settled in around him, the kind that doesn't ask permission. And somewhere in that silence, Daniel stopped fighting it. He sat down against a pine tree and thought, perhaps this is how it ends. The men had threatened him, his family, his children. The shame of it was worse than any cold. He couldn't see a way out. At least out here, he thought, it was quiet. At least out here, there was no one left to disappoint. He stayed there a long time, until the last gray light faded, until the forest went completely dark. And then he felt it, that feeling on the back of the neck that says, "You are not alone." He turned, 10 meters away. Standing perfectly still between two pine trunks, a wolf. Looking straight at him, Daniel pressed his back against the tree. His whole body went cold, not from the temperature, different kind of cold entirely. Waited for the wolf to move, to charge. That's what wolves do. That's what he told himself. And then a strange thought came to him, quiet and dark. Maybe this was the answer he had driven here to find. But the wolf didn't move. 1 minute, 2 minutes. He simply stood there watching Daniel with pale amber eyes. And slowly, Daniel began to think, if he was going to attack, he would have done it already. Then the wolf did something Daniel would not forget for the rest of his life. He turned his body away, but kept his eyes on Daniel. Looking back over his shoulder, the gesture was unmistakable. "Follow me." Daniel didn't think. He took 1 step toward the wolf, and then another. The wolf moved slowly, not toward Daniel, away from him, pausing every few steps, looking back. There was no logic to it. Daniel knew that. But logic had already failed him, so he followed. When Daniel slowed, the wolf slowed. When Daniel stopped, the wolf stopped and turned back to check. It had the patience of something ancient. As he walked, Daniel thought, this animal has no reason to help me. None at all. I am a stranger. I am prey. And yet, here he was, leading, checking, waiting, treating one lost human with more care than most humans had shown him lately. He thought about the men and their threats, and he thought, a wild wolf in the middle of a dark forest is showing me more kindness right now than they ever did. If this creature, who owes me nothing, can choose not to destroy me, then perhaps I can make the same choice. They walked for almost an hour. Daniel stopped counting his steps. Just followed the silver shape moving quietly between the trees. And then the trees began to thin. The darkness ahead broke open into something pale and wide. Lights. A road. The world. Daniel stepped out of the forest and turned around. The wolf was still there, at the edge of the trees, standing in the shadow of the tree line, amber eyes steady, watching. After a long moment, the wolf turned and walked back into the forest, without looking back this time. Daniel stood at the tree line for a long time after that, looking at the place where the silver shape had disappeared between the dark trunks. Then he turned and walked toward the lights. He reached a road. A car stopped. An hour later, he was sitting in a police station with a cup of tea, trying to find the words for what had just happened. That night, he called his brother. The first time in 2 years, he told him everything. It took 3 months. The debt was restructured. The threats stopped. His brother helped him find a way through. Once, he went back to the forest, to the same area, between the trees, and looked. He didn't find the wolf, but he left something at the base of a pine tree, some meat, a piece of bread. It felt like the right thing to do. People often say that the forest is dangerous, that wolves are something to fear. Daniel says something different now. He says, the darkest night of his life, a wild animal walked into the darkness beside him and showed him the way out. Not all that is fearsome is cruel. A wolf taught him that.